Welcome to Kumba Software DPAA tutorials. This tutorial is about exporting configurations using the DataPower Administrator's Assistant. So be sure to set your video playback to high definition, and though some visual details of DPAA may have changed since this video was created, the functionality will be the same. So we've got DPAA running. We have a couple of appliances selected, which you can multi-select your appliances with control click or command click. And then we have a number of domains selected. In fact, I don't need that last one. I can just control or command click my domain names. And then I also have a number of object types. I'm on the Find Objects screen. And so we have a number of objects selected. And again, I can control and command click those. Now I put in a search expression and I've searched all the objects matching the search expression just to keep things under control in terms of the number of objects that we're seeing on the screen. But that just makes the tutorial flow a little bit better. So to export the configuration of an object in one or more out of one or more appliances, you just basically select the object you want to export or objects you want to export. In this case, I'm exporting a logging target named Payment Processor Services from this retail domain of both appliances. I'm going to invoke the hamburger menu, and I'm going to select Export Configuration. So what I'm going to get is a quick dialog that's pretty much what you would expect to see in DataPower. It's very similar in terms of what you have to answer here, but it's all on one screen, and in this sort of screen. And I've got a place where I'm going to export this so we can show you how DPAA performs the export. I'm going to click OK, and we're going to go about the process of performing this export. And it's complete just like that. It's pretty easy to do. But what I need to show you is I've got this directory up where I just did this export. And what DPAA does is you'll notice that I have two appliances selected. They're called Dev1 and Dev2. And in the export location, it's going to duplicate first the appliance names, and these are arbitrary names. If you look at how to set up your appliances, you already know that this is an arbitrary name. These are the arbitrary names that it creates those directories after those names. Then I'm going to go into one of them, and you're going to see that because I exported objects from the retail domain, I've got a directory named retail. So I'm in the Dev1 retail directory here. If I now expand the retail domain, you see I've got the logging target. That's the type of object I exported. So I have log target here. And then if I expand that farther, we're going to see we have a zip file, because that's a type of export I requested, named Payment Processor Services. If I go all the way back and I go into this appliance, we're going to see the same structure here. The reason why DPAA does this is because it keeps things separate. You don't have naming collisions, and if these two objects happen to be different in some way, you would have independent backups of both of them. I'm going to move this screen out of the way. We're going to show you another example of exporting. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a couple of multi-protocol gateways from this domain, and I'm going to select couple of load balancer groups from this other domain. Again, multiple appliances, now multiple domains and multiple object types. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and also select this load balancer group from the retail domain of these appliances. So we've got quite a number of objects that we're going to be exporting. I can also invoke the menu by a right mouse click, and then I can select Export Configuration. So again, we get the same window. You just decide what you're going to do. I'm going to select the location where I want to put it, and I'm going to select Open, and I'm going to go ahead and select OK. We're going to go through this quickly. It's pretty simple. I mean, this is very straightforward, but as you can see, I've exported some configurations, and you see it going through each of the domains from which I've exported those things. There's going to be a little bit of a difference here in the way this export was done, so especially in these directories. So one thing to note, I've only selected one object from the insurance domain of Dev1 and Dev2. So let's see what happened with that. So I'm going to open this up. You see the insurance domain, okay, the directory named after that. and then you see the directory named after load balancer group, and then after that you see the name of the service zip file. This is just a straight up export of one object. However, when we go look at when we have more than one object in one export from the same domain, DPAA does it a little bit differently. So what we're going to do is we're going to go take a look at this. We're going to go say, okay, I've got the dev1. I'm going back to this retail domain because that's where we have multiple object types, the two different object types. I'm going to go here, and now I have a file that's just configuration export, and it has a date and timestamp on it indicating to you when that export was actually conducted. Now the reason why it does that is because it can't easily name both of these objects and both of these types in directory structures as effectively as it can when there's only one object type being exported. So just keep that in mind when you're exporting. You may have a different directory structure where you export it and a different kind of file structure where you export it, but DPAA is doing that to try to prevent naming collisions from multiple appliances and multiple domains and multiple object types and various things like that by making a nice clean export and export structure for you. If you have any questions, comments, or you want to see all the other tutorials available to us or to you, go out to www.kumbasoft.com. Go to the features and tutorials page, and you can see all the tutorials that are available for DPAA. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.